Overview of Subobject Editing. Solid primitives, such as cylinders, wedges, and boxes, are composed of three different types of subobjects. We have a face, goes across the surface of the face. We have edges, and we have vertexes. These can be edited. These can be edited as called subobject editing. If the object was made with Boolean expression, it's a composite. Composites have subobjects in it. And subobjects can be edited if, and that is if the solid history has been recorded. So if we go up to our solids, we must have the solid history on before the objects were made. Also, if we have our subobject history on, when I click on the object and right click, and I click on the object and I right click and I go to properties, I want to have it, they're set to record, and I want my show history to be yes. Now, if I have it showing history, I can see the things that made up my object. So I can have those on if I wish. I'm going to turn mine off. And I'm going to say, no, I don't want to show the history. Now, the big trick to editing composites and using subobject is I must use the control key to select the subobject. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to hold my control key down, and I'm going to pick on that subobject. I have just picked on that cylinder. Now, I could come in here and I could right click, for example. I could go to properties and I could change, for example, the height and say I want it to be whatever height I want it to be. I'll go to an even 6, for example. And maybe I change the radius to something a little smaller, like 2. And when I'm done, boom, I can hit escape. Now, once again, in order to edit the subobjects, I have to use the control key. So I'm going to hold down my control key. I'm going to pick on the object. Then, at that point, I can use grips. I can use any of those grips I want and grab a hold of those grips. Oop. And I got to pick on it again. And I'm going to hold the control key down. Oop. All right. Let's do this one more time. I'm going to hold the control key down, pick it. I got the move. I can move things. I could rotate things. I could pick the heights here differently. So I can, in order to pick on it, I have to use the control key. I pick on the control key. Then I can right click. Oop. And then pick the control key. Alright, one more. Pick the control key. I pick the object. I'm going to right click. I'll right click again. I could use rotate. I could do all kinds of commands. I want to right click on my gizmo. One more time. Hit control key. I want to right click on my gizmo. I could go to rotate. And I could rotate this object to say I want to go 45 degrees. And I let go. And now I've rotated my subobject. So anything that's a subobject, I can select by using the control key. And so I can pick on anything I want. I can hold the control key down and I select on that particular object. Alright, so I hold the control key down and I pick on it. I get that subobject. I can edit it in any way I like at that point. I can use 3D rotate, 3D scale, 3D move. I can use my grips. So there's a variety of ways in which I could do that. So however I want to edit those, the key thing here is, one, I must have my solid history on. Number two, in order to pick any sub-object, I must have my control key down and I pick with my left mouse button. Now I have a hold of that sub-object. I can do anything I want with it. So two important things. Have the solid history on before you created the object, and number two, hold down the control key when you're picking sub-objects.